Hello guys, welcome to DNY. This video we're going through Jojolion chapter 108, The Last Calamity. With me is Adrian and I'm Chris.
Let's talk about the cover art for chapter 108, The Last Calamity. In the front page, we have Yasuho in front of the Higakasha's household, and the tagline for the chapter is, "This is a story about breaking a curse." What'd you think about it, Chris?
I liked it. It shows the house being destroyed that was after the fight, and then she's front and center.
From an artistic standpoint, I really enjoyed the cover art. Yasuo has been there since day one, and I remember looking back to chapter 1 of Jojolion, the first couple of lines were Yasuo saying to the reading that this is a story about breaking a curse, so it kind of comes across like full circle.
I forgot about that.
That's like the first thing Yasuo says. It's like, this is a story about breaking a curse. This is about a curse that has plagued a generation. When I first read it, it was going to come full circle. It was going to tie back to the first chapter. A lot of people have been saying, oh, like Jojolion's finally ending. Jojolion is finally reaching the climax, or like it's wrapping up in a couple of chapters. But the way I initially like read this chapter is like them breaking the curse, but moving on towards like a brighter future.
Yeah, that's the implication I got. Even though they should be in despair for losing their family members, they're hopeful for what's to come. But as for like where's part 8 going, I'm not really sure. It could end next chapter or something else. Who knows, you know?
I hope not. I really hope that it doesn't end, because I feel like there's a lot of loose ends that Araki has to like address within the couple of chapters, as well as saving Holly.
Yeah, that's the main one that I thought of.
So why don't we just talk about like what happens in like the chapter?
Sure thing.
The first half of this chapter, we focus on Kato and Toru like fighting. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a fight, but the implications of the equivalent exchange. So we see a beautiful backdrop of the Higakasha's household, like you described like earlier, like how it's just very beautiful, like, you know, like it's the attack of the calamity. And so we see like the aftermath, and then Toru is going through the equivalent exchange. He is uncertain of what's going to happen to him. Kato's uncertain of what's going to happen to her grandson. And so we have many pages of like that going back and forth. Toru's like, oh hey, like you don't know what you're doing, Kato. Like you have no right to the Wakakaka, etc. What were your thoughts when this was happening?
I was curious to see what was going to happen to what is that little kid's name?
Tsugi.
Yeah, because Toro ate the fruit first, or part of the fruit. And it wasn't until she actually started liquefying or getting the sap from the roots that it started turning against Toro.
Yeah, that was like one thing I was really curious about. Like, Toru was the first one to eat the Wakakaka. He was the one who took the initiative to like, hey, you know what, this is my last gambit. I'm gonna do it because I have no other options, and do equivalent exchange with either Jobin or Tsuyu. So in Araki's mind, I was thinking, oh, it's gonna be another power up for Toru.
Yeah, or like Kira, he gets away.
And so when Akato liquefied the Wakaka, gave it to Tsugi, then it had that power exchange between them two. Like, who's gonna be the first one to get away with it?
Yeah, really like Kato's powers. It's kind of neat. Her cards, like hiding stuff in them, but her outfit's kind of weird. It's very JoJo, I guess.
Very JoJo. You mean like her outfit or like her stand outfit?
Her outfit, which is cowboy pants or something, and cards with fishnets shirt.
I know her stand is named Space Trucking, but I kind of wish like her stand is gonna be named Poker Face.
That would have been better.
So we see Kato and Toru monologuing. Kato, you're not the one. You're not gonna get away with this. I am more superior than you. You don't know what the Wakakaka is gonna do. And at the very end, we see that Toru's suggestion to Yasuho, Kato's gonna kill me. You gotta help me. Did you think that Yasuho was gonna help Toru at any point?
Honestly, maybe. There was like a second where I thought she had a look. Maybe she might do it, even though he tried to kill her.
Yeah, it's like a very JoJo thing to do. But at the same time, as a writer, you're gonna find your way to kind of drag it out as long as possible.
Even Toro dying, he was monologuing for 5 minutes before he actually dusted it all the way.
Yeah, he's like, Yasuo, stop this damn bitch already. God damn it.
My favorite Toro line, going back a little bit to when the head doctor or Wonder You attacks Kato, did you think something was going to happen there?
I honestly thought that Kato was going to get inflicted with at least one calamity.
Other than the last one. But yeah, that was cool to see her held by Wonder of You, and then its head just exploding as Toro's head is also also getting dusted.
I actually like that. Despite being informed one to use power, in like 10 seconds, she was able to fully grasp I can't directly attack him, but if I'm doing this to save my grandchild, if that is my ultimate goal.
Even last chapter, when she first appears, Yashiro was telling her, don't go near him, and she already had this plan. She was ready for this.
That was a very dangerous part on Hato to do, just because this guy had a stand, you don't know what his stand does, who ends up being disintegrated by the equivalent exchange. And like the last thing he sees is a hornet, and he says, I just thought I saw a hornet. Oh, I see, it was just a memory of mine. And then he fades away like Thanos.
I thought he was gonna do something with the hornet, like become the hornet or something for a moment.
For real?
I don't know, it's JoJo. People have weird powers.
To be honest, when I saw the hornet page, like I know it's like Toru the most unforgiving individual, but at that moment, like his memories being flashed back, I kind of felt bad for him. Like I almost wanted to tear up a bit. In the last chapter, Toru was talking about at the end of the day, when you die, what is going to be of your legacy? Like, what do you hope to accomplish in your life? What kind of memories are you going to be remembered for?
I guess more leading up to it, Toro says there won't be any more Rokakas in this country.
After this fight, everything has been all fine and dandy. The curse is removed from Tsugi, but then we realize that she has a saw stuck in her stomach. And that's the final calamity, tying it back to the name of the chapter.
When reading, did you think that the curse was actually lifted? Because I had doubts until the boxes were like, the curse is lifted.
That's the thing like I was thinking about. Is the true curse lifted, or is it just the curse from Tsugi are lifted?
Exactly. When he has a kid, is it still there? Will that first child die?
I feel like something like Araki is gonna have to like speak up on in the following chapter. I think the way Kato went out, she knew like the curse was kind of like uplifted, it's finally gone, and I hope that Araki addresses it in the next chapter. The curse is finally gone.
I wonder if those text boxes here, it's Jojolion, this is a story about breaking a curse. I feel like that and the stuff after that is implying that the whole curse is gone.
Yeah, when Yasuo dropped of like part 8, I honestly had a good laugh.
I thought that was weird too.
But I honestly had a good laugh because like, oh, there it is, it's over, part's over.
Yeah, they said the name, it's over.
And we see the casualties, the damage that's been done by the calamity, and Yasuo's kind of narrating, Jobin's dead, Kato's dead, Jashu is not in a good place.
The greed that the Rokakuka led to destroyed them almost.
I wonder, I know that this family is a descendant from Johnny Joestar, and it kind of sucks that like they have to like suffer the repercussions of like what Johnny did several hundred years ago, because ultimately but this family is not a selfish family.
Couldn't you say JoJo in general is about family members suffering for what the other generations have done?
I wouldn't say that.
Part 1, Johnny didn't kill Dio all the way. Dio comes back, part 3.
I get what you're saying. Not as in the acts of like the family members, they're not like evil people, but it's just calamity. You know, negative energy, suffering, misfortune. So the curse is broken, and then we see the ambulance come into the house, and we see Narusuke, who's still in the body bag, and then we get the most surprising reveal. We see that Yasuo is not content about Toru's destruction, and that we see the head doctor kind of playing around with Narusuke's body, hands coming out of his mouth, and she's like, what is happening to Narusuke? Were you caught off guard by that?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that that stand was still active, despite having his head destroyed and his assumably body destroyed after Toro died. But I guess its will carry it forward.
I do like the explanation where I don't know if it was Joshua was saying or like the narrative was saying it, but like the form of the head doctor is calamity energy, a natural law of calamity. Even without a user to control it, or the head doctor still not disappear. The calamity is still going. Just basically telling us like the calamity is just nature itself. You can't stop nature. You cannot prevent gravity from doing this thing.
I'd have one problem with it. Does it follow Toro's rules for the stand? Because he wasn't pursuing him. He's just laying in the ground. So it didn't really make sense for him to be attacked. Yashu should have been attacked.
In a way, Toru was manipulating the calamity energy.
I guess that's true. It does say like in one of the narrative boxes that Toro was controlling it for his own whim. Kind of seemed like breaking the rules a little bit of what it can do.
It's like if you had a stand that was like based on luck. You don't really control of luck entirely. Just because you have a luck-based stand doesn't mean the idea of luck goes away because you're dead.
That makes sense.
But one of the weirdest part I find about this chapter, Josuke comes out of fucking nowhere. I can control it. I can take care of this. Yasuo, move out of the way. And bam, defeats the calamity. it's over, and then we get the happy ending, and it's like the calamity has blasted to bits, and then you see Yasuo and Josuke have like a romantic scene, and it's over. What do you think about that?
I'm assuming that he's the one who brought the ambulance and called them to bring them here, because Yashiro wasn't calling anyone except Josuke. I assume he rode with them. It definitely felt out of nowhere, especially the last time we saw him. He was bloodied and beaten up. That last panel kind of feels like the end.
I kind of agree. Araki's just trying to speed run to the ending. It's over. Jojolion's going to be done. But I feel like a false sense of security.
Are they going to introduce another villain? Feels too late at this point, no?
That's the thing. I feel like there's a couple more chapters that can introduce to us, explain more, give us more depth, one more, show us like how Holly has recuperated, and sort of introduce a final villain. Because no disrespect to Kato, I don't really mind her defeating Toru, but I kind of want to see like that final confrontation between Josuke and the main villain. At least just like one monologue.
That's her. I feel like we get that in JoJo parts.
I don't know, it just feels kind of rushed. Like next month could be the epilogue where you might see Yasuo and Josuke start like something serious, and Yasuo goes on a monologue about how the family has recovered from the curse. Then it's over. I feel like we can be in for a wild ride, or it could be the end. I remember you telling me in the past, like Araki has never been a great person to write a decent ending.
Yeah, they all seem rushed. Giorno's the head of the mafia now.
And when I read this, I was like, oh shit, Chris is right. You are absolutely right when it comes to like him rushing endings. But I hope it's not. Because like I feel he has a little bit more to tease, especially with Tsugi. Tsugi has Paper Moon King, the ability to make illusions. And like all of what we're seeing right now is just some sort of magician act.
But why?
Because every day is like summer vacation, Chris. It's the summer of Jobin, okay? So what's your rating about the chapter? If you had to give it between a 1 to 10, what would you rate it? I would give it like a 7 out of 10. Just because I feel like this chapter relies on future chapters to either make it or break it. I don't know where the author's trying to take us. If it's either toward the end or like a new arc. Like it's so hard to really predict if it's a good chapter or a chapter where like it feels very rushed.
I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 just because what was going on. And then I feel like we finally know about the curse being lifted. That was nice. And Toro is dead, presumably. Calamity's gone. And this arc felt super long and not really moving anywhere. So it's nice to have this arc come to a close finally.
I thought that this arc was excellent. I know a lot of people that did not like the Wonder View arc. They felt like it dragged on. A part of it was them trying to find out the mystery of who the head doctor was. But I really enjoyed it.
The part that dragged on for me was the Rokaka. It's gonna be ripe soon. Only X amount of hours, which is 10 chapters of that. Felt long. And also when Toro actually showed up to their home, I felt like he was just standing around waiting for a long time.
I feel like that was necessary just because like his stand is the stand where you have to be on the defensive. You cannot make any sudden moves.
It wasn't very interesting to read for me at least. Even Josuke was waiting around a lot in the hospital. It makes sense story-wise, but it just felt like it dragged on a bit.
This has been DNY's chapter review of Jojolion 108, The Final Calamity. Thank you all for joining us so much. If you could drop a like, that would be greatly appreciated.
Smash that like button!